The Bioterrorism Security Assessment Alliance, or B.S.A.A. for short, has been one of the most important organizations in the Resident Evil games for quite some time at this point. Being introduced to us in Resident Evil 5, with none other than series mainstay Chris Redfield lending them the credibility of his name, this organization quickly rose to be one of the most notable in fighting bioterror on a global scale. However, with their inclusion in Resident Evil 8 Village, the B.S.A.A. seems to have drastically changed since their introduction, seemingly using bioweapons of their own as they attempt to deal with bioterror. So today I thought we'd take a look at what's happened to this once well-respected organization and see if we can't find out why they've had such a fall from grace.
B.S.A.A. didn't send soldiers. This is a bioweapon.
What the hell were they thinking?
So, to start, the B.S.A.A. as an organization has been around since just after the collapse of Umbrella Pharmaceuticals. Initially founded by 11 individuals with a mission to combat bioterror, the organization would start small, but see a massive boom in late 2005, when it would become sponsored by the United Nations. The UN wanted a force that could quickly and effectively combat the ever-growing global outbreaks of biological terror, and saw the fledgling group as the best way to do that. With this sponsorship came a huge influx of power and authority for the organization. Hundreds of new members joined the fray and took up the fight against the rising bioweapons black market, their influence spanning the entire globe. And with this imbued authority, they would quell many rising bioterror attacks that would threaten areas all over the world. However, as is often the case, this power and success for the B.S.A.A. would bring with it corruption. In 2014, the organization would learn of a new bioweapon being developed by a big-time black market player known as the Connections. And with intel of the location where it was being developed, the B.S.A.A. would plan an attack to take it out before it could ever threaten public safety. Unfortunately, this attack on the Connections facility would be a resounding failure. And worse still, would result in the black market organization deciding to move their E001 bioweapon overseas, setting off a chain of events that would see the bioweapon killing dozens of innocent people and infiltrating an unknowing family in Dulvey, Louisiana.
They're mine now.
What?
It would take some time for the B.S.A.A. to find out about the fruits of their failure, but once they saw the absolute devastation that had resulted from their intervention, they knew that this would cause a harsh mark on their public reputation. In July of 2017, an organization known as Blue Umbrella would ask for the B.S.A.A.'s aid on an operation to deal with E001 in Dulvey, Louisiana. An operation that they would jump on immediately. Soldiers would be sent in to deal with the havoc that Evelyn was wreaking on the surrounding ecosystem. But while they battled with this bioterror, the B.S.A.A. organization got to work covering their tracks. The B.S.A.A. got into contact with the local sheriff station to pressure them into adopting a lie as their public stance on the situation. The two coming to an understanding that they would tell the media that the Baker family and the crew of the internet series Sewer Gators had been killed by a tragic natural gas leak in the area. A lie that the media fully embraced, and even as the public initially questioned the story, in time the entire situation would fall into obscurity.
Everyone's forgotten about this already.
After their seemingly successful evasion of culpability in the Dulvey incident, the B.S.A.A's motives and goals become much more questionable, as our biggest window into the organization, Chris Redfield, becomes disillusioned with their leadership, severing most communications with them and taking sole control over his elite unit, the Houndwolf Squad, to act as he sees fit. This is pretty much where the concrete facts we have around the B.S.A.A. stop, the organization seemingly making drastic changes during Chris's absence, and not for the better. As for what these changes are, it's really anyone's guess, but some interesting details in Resident Evil 8 do provide some things to speculate on. Firstly is the relocation of the Winters to Eastern Europe. On its surface, this detail may seem insignificant, until you look into the B.S.A.A's data files uncovered by Zoe Baker. Of the limited notes that the organization has on the connections, they make note that, as of late, they've been particularly active in Eastern Europe. So, what sense does it make to send a family that you're trying to protect from this organization to an area that you know they've been particularly active in? This could just be an oversight on Capcom's part, or just showing a lack of caring from the B.S.A.A., but I thought it was an interesting point when I saw it in Zoe's findings. It's possible that the B.S.A.A. and the Connections have formed some kind of relationship in the wake of the Dulvey incident, and this placement was to give them access to the Winters. It would explain why they're so paranoid of Chris looking into the Winters, and also how they got access to the technology for the bioweapons we see them using late in Resident Evil 8. To run absolutely wild with speculation, it's possible that the Connections blackmailed the B.S.A.A. into some kind of partnership with the information about their involvement in Evelyn's escape. The B.S.A.A. going to any lengths to ensure that their failures are kept under wraps. This partnership resulting in the creation of the biosoldiers that show up at the end of the game. It could even give us a reason for why the B.S.A.A. was there in the first place. We know that the Connections and Miranda worked together to create Evelyn using Miranda's daughter's DNA. It's possible that the Connections wanted to keep that relationship a secret, or had some kind of sensitive information in the area, and so they used the B.S.A.A.'s new biosoldiers to go in and try to cover it up.
B.S.A.A. They've gone too far. Christ.
Looks pretty rough.
Regardless of that theory though, there's no denying that something huge has been happening with the B.S.A.A. in the shadows. Something that will undoubtedly have to be resolved in the near future. If not in the DLCs, then certainly in a future game. Personally, I'm looking forward to seeing what's been happening with them. While obviously the series is no stranger to big corrupt organizations, the B.S.A.A. could be a little different. It would be really interesting to see Chris have to reconcile with the fact that something that he helped found has become a global issue. Hopefully, we'll get to see how that plays out soon. Anyways, thank you all for watching, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope to see you all in the next one.